We are live. Okay, thank you everyone for joining again. My name is Olamide, and welcome to Metanoia Mind Shift. Mind Shift is a podcast where we have realistic conversations. The aim is just one thing, is to get you to the point where you see that your life is in your hands. If only you would take some moments to just introspect about it, think about it, understand that life is not binary, it's not yes or no. So you can't always go to just to say you're going on a podcast or even going to go and get a book and then you figure it out. Sometimes you have to take a step back, think about it, and come up with an informed decision that works for you. So that's what metanoia is about. We're going to have interesting conversations. Um, some of the episodes will be hosted and led by me all through. Sometimes I'm going to have my friends and people who I really admire just share their experience and we can learn one or two from them. And on today's episode of Metanoia, I have my brother on uh, on this episode. I won't say his name because I want to refrain from telling you their names. They will do their introduction themselves. But sometimes life is not fair. That's the truth. But you still see people go through life strong, happy, weather every storm life throws at them. And interestingly, they are the ones that have the brightest smiles. They are the type of people that don't give up early. So I want to hear from someone. I want to hear from him his experience because if there's somebody that I can say bluntly, life has not been fair to in some sense, he's going to be the one, but yet he has the biggest smile. He gives you the biggest hugs. If you call him on the phone, he's there to pick your call at any time. So, my brother, thank you for joining Metanoia. How are you, bro?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me. Uh, I mean,
It,
it's
it's
really a pleasure to be on
it,
here.
yeah, it's really nice to have you on my platform. So, just a few minutes, just introduce yourself. Let's meet you, my brother. Who are you?
Oh, my name is Maxwell, and
Hi, Maxwell.
yeah, I'm a consultant, and basically on taxation and automation. So yeah, that's the little thing I would say about me. I mean, along the line, I share about my story. I'll share about other things, and you get to know me better.
Yeah, awesome. He just said he's in taxation and is a consultant, but the journey long to reach that point because I don't want to say jack of all trade, but to some extent you've dabbled your hand into a lot of things, and I'm really proud of you, and I'm grateful for you in my life. So just to break the ice, because I sense a lot of formality, and I want you to unleash on this episode. So, what is your earliest memory of us meeting, or how did you even meet Lekon in the first place? How, just briefly, how did you guys meet, and how did we now eventually come to this relationship as brothers?
So Lekon was my junior in secondary school. However, at the time I left the school, but we met back in university, and I just saw him, and he was looking sharp. He was wearing one brand and all that. And then I just walked up to him and told him, "You look good. I love your dress. I love your shoe." And that was it. Well, he was a little bit surprised. Maybe a guy walking up to him to tell him he's looking
Yeah,
good. So, but you know how it could be. But subsequently,
yeah,
I would see him and say hello. It was quite a little bit restrictive. It was not.
yeah,
It was frowning and all that. Always having that straight
yeah.
face.
We are like that in my house. Strong face.
Yes, but after a couple of weeks, I'm someone that naturally I mingle with people easily, and
Yeah,
I don't even want to know where you're coming from. If you have a strong face, if I'm comfortable reaching out to you, I will reach out to you. And over time, that was how we became friends. And then I got to know the family, introduced me. Apparently, he has been talking to mom about me, talking to dad about me, that there's this boy that cooks very well in the school. You know, at
that
that time,
was that was
yes,
your introduction.
yes, at that time he does not cook. I mean, I'd go to his place and I'll see that food stuff are there and not touched. And for me that I barely eat in a day, seeing that there's
Yeah.
food, I had to start telling him that you need to stop buying food. I'll make the food. All you have to do is eat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, it was not even from a place of oh, because I there is food and maybe I'm trying to reach up him and all that. But it was just me being comfortable
Mm-hmm.
around him. And
Yeah.
then we flowed easily. For someone that was very hot-headed, does not even care
Mm-hmm.
about what you have to
Mm-hmm.
say. If he's not flowing with you, he's not flowing with you. I mean, it was easy for him to relate with me, and it was amazing. And that was how I met the
Yeah.
family. You guys welcomed me with open arms. And believe me, it's been great knowing you guys. It's been really great knowing you.
Yeah, awesome, 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 and it's interesting because even Lincoln is going to tell you that he wasn't having it easy as well, and
Yes,
that's just to show you life, right?
yes.
One person think things are hard. I hope that English is nice, but anyways, English is not my father's language. But one person think life is good for him, and the other person thinks, oh, or one person thinks life is hard for them, and then another person thinks, "Oh, you have it so good." That's just the irony of life. So, I think first question I want to ask you: how was it growing up for you? How was life growing up?
Well, to be honest, like you rightly said, if I'm to be generic about it, I would say life has not been fair to me. However,
Mm-hmm.
life is what you make of it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think life is open ended. You can shape it to how you want it. It might not be easy along the way, but the fact that you're committed about your beliefs, I think it works. So for me, growing up has been really hard. I grew up not knowing my dad. I was
Mm-hmm.
3 months in the womb when my dad died, and I'm the last born of four, two
Mm-hmm.
boys, two girls, and you know, it was all my mom. It was my mom I knew, nobody else. It's just been her all these years. The fact that she had to sacrifice, in fact, to some extent, she borrowed money from people to take us to private
Mm-hmm.
schools. She could have as well married, but she refused. She decided that no, I'm sticking to God, and God is my father. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
all I know about my dad is just pictures and what I hear of him from people. And
Mm-hmm.
that for me was not just it was hard for me because growing up as kids, you go to school, you when especially when you resume new term, you hear people saying my dad got me this, my
Mm-hmm.
dad got me that. At some point I had to
Mm.
pretend too that my dad got me this. Well, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I get.
because it saddens me a lot of time when I hear kids saying their dad did this, their dad that, and there's nothing I have to share. So I had to make up my
Mm.
own story to feel among, and
Mm.
that was part of it. Growing up, to be honest, was hard because I was quite stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was me fighting the world as well because I mean, it's just been my mom. It was hard for her.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was very, very hot tempered. Any issue, I take it up. I don't let anybody talk down on me. And I mean, along the line,
Yes, yes. That hot temper one, it still shows sometimes when you're arguing. It still shows that yes, you don't
yeah,
just allow people to say, okay, this is how it is. You'd always ask the question. So I agree. That one is true.
yes. So, um, however, I growing up to secondary school. I mean, it was a boarding school for crying out loud. It was a missionary school, and they don't take a nonsense and all that. So I had to start shaping myself, and I received a lot of punishment, but
Mm,
it shaped the kind of person I was, especially when it comes to um, work ethics. Say, for example, you have to lay your
yeah.
bed, you have to be clean, you have to do all that. I was doing all that at home. I mean, majorly I was staying in the kitchen with my mom always because I was the last born. Like you will say, I'm a hard
Yeah.
man. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Before you get, I feel like you're already getting into the lessons.
oh,
Before you get there, I want us to touch on some of the things you've talked about.
okay,
So, two things I want to bring out. You talked about how your dad passed before you were born. You were 3 months in the womb. It passed,
yeah,
and then literally you were born into a world of hardness,
yes,
right? Just your mom, a single mom, mother of four. First, before that point, so this is the life you're experiencing. You said you heard a lot of stories. Was life always like that, even when he was around?
oh,
Because
oh no,
yeah, I understand the place of a dad in the picture, right? There are some people that are probably listening and then they might think, well, my dad is in the picture, my mom is in the picture. It doesn't change the story, right?
yeah,
So the question is, when he was alive, was the picture different from what you saw?
yes, and I'll
Okay, can you
quickly,
just
I'll,
explain, like, give context to what that was like? Yeah.
okay, so I'd say I came from a rich background. So
Okay.
he's wealthy. When he was alive, well, we were wealthy when he was alive.
Mm,
Yeah. So, but
mm,
when he died, there's this archaic way of people thinking once their pet son in that family dies, the property is theirs.
mm,
And that was the experience for us.
mm,
He owned a lot of properties, but most of it was taken away from us by his
mm,
extended siblings, not even his direct siblings.
mm,
Because I mean, I think his dad had two or three wives. So along the line, my mom was not into the business. It was, oh, I didn't state it. I'm an Igbo boy. So how
mm,
Igbos are very industrious with business trades. My mom was really not taking business serious at the time. She was just a stay-at-home mom, eating and all freshening up and all that. But um, it was at the advent of his death that she started taking business serious, and it was too late at that time. My elder brother
mm,
was quite young. There was nothing he could do about securing properties and all that. And my mom was not schooled. I think she stopped at GSS 3. And
mm.
things that she was not known to, the only thing she could do is protect her
Okay.
children. Fortunately for us, she was able to secure 4 properties. And those properties
Okay.
are, one of them is where we are currently staying, while the other ones are in other states. Um, However, she didn't sell any of those properties. Well, she had to sell one half plot in Ilorin, uh,
Mm,
just to feed us because things were really hard. The stores were closed. The cars he purchased that had not gotten to where it ought to get, the dealers did
mm.
not deliver the car when they heard he was dead. So,
Can imagine.
yeah, so
It's painful because, yeah, I can get the angle, and that's where my next question is, that because you mentioned that you were fighting the world
yes,
like when you were young. Do you think it was because of, I mean, your all the stories you are hearing is in retrospect about, oh, we used to be wealthy, or when this man was alive, we had this much, and then you're wondering, why is it when it is my time? Do you think it's because of that you were, that what your response was more like you reacting? That's why you were fighting the war. Do you think that was the reason? Okay, this is the life you guys were living just before. Why is it when it's my turn, I have to suffer or I have to bear this kind of pain? Do you think that was why?
to be honest, yes, it was part of it, majorly part of it. However, it also boils down to relationship with people. I mean, I started
Mm,
having
okay.
concerns about relating with people, and that was why I was fighting everybody. I don't take nonsense. I was not willing to be close to people because
Okay.
family did that to us. So
Okay. 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 I get you.
yes, so I I had to distance myself at some point while growing up, and that was why I was not taking any bullshit, if I could use the word, um, from
Mm.
people.
Okay, so more like, okay, if this thing, some people say that when people get close to you, they will hurt you. So before you hurt me, I'm going to let you know I'm a no nonsense person, right?
Yeah,
Like something like that.
true. Yes. However, my mother also pushed that. Um, I wouldn't
Okay,
blame her. She was,
like she encouraged it.
yes. In fact, we never brought any friends home. We grew up not
Mm,
nobody.
okay.
Growing up, I never saw anybody with my mom as a friend. I only hear there's one particular woman she speaks with on a daily, not daily, maybe once in a while, but
Mm, mm,
she would never come to our house. She does not let visitors and all that.
I understand. I want us to stay there a bit and maybe just talk about that experience, because someone like that, it's possible for someone to see her and then feel like, oh, why is this woman just blocking people away? Like you've not heard her story. You've not seen that, and perhaps was she always like that before your dad, or that was just an effect of what people did, or was she always like that lone wolf, no friends and all that before?
No, she wasn't. Actually, they were my dad and mom were very open to people.
I hope it's okay. You're
Yes,
okay sharing this, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so my dad and mom were very open to people, very accommodating.
Okay.
Um, there's this thing they do in Igbo land that you serve your master and they will settle you.
Mm.
Right? He had,
Yeah, I think there's a movie on this. There's this movie that trended
oh
last year about it.
yes. So that's actually a thing.
Yes.
So I mean, he had over 12 boys serving under him.
Sorry, what's the Igbo this? Because I know there are people that are not Nigerians that will definitely watch this.
Okay, the culture
I'm
is
interested in
the
pushing.
culture is you leave your home, they come to pick you and tell you, oh, you stay with us for 7 years or 5 years as agreed, whatever agreement you guys have. After five
Mm,
years of working for them, they will settle you, open your store for you, give you money to set up your business, and you are good to go. You are on
mm.
your own and you can start your own
Yeah,
business and all.
yeah, some sort of apprenticeship
Exactly,
system.
exactly.
Is there an Igbo term for it?
They call it Nwa boy.
One boy.
Yes.
Okay, okay, yeah.
So
Yeah, you
yeah, so
continue.
he had over 12 boys that served under him, and he settled over 11 of them before he died. So,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, he's a very cheerful person and quite
mm-hmm,
a giver. He helps people a whole lot,
mm.
and people come always on the Sundays. My mom had friends. I mean, when I was seeing my mom's picture, it's like before and after is just, it's like after should be a
It's
before. I don't know if you get me. So,
true,
so,
true. I get you. I
so
get you.
she had go
Someone who used to have a lot of friends does not have
friends
friends
exactly.
again.
So she went into a shell because of what had happened. Friends were distant when my dad died. They were not there.
Mm,
There was nobody to
mm,
help her. Nobody that was. But when he was around, when the money was there, they were leeching up and all that. He was helping them, but
mm,
nobody to come and
mm.
to her aid to help her when she needed help. So she
So sorry to cut you,
please,
Mark.
please.
So because I want us to stay there and explore some facts about life, and this is where some of these things go, because you have conversations. If someone did not really know your story or just hear some part of it, surface level, or I didn't have friends growing up and it was because of my mom, they might be quick to judge her. But life is the way life is when we say life is not linear, life has many sides to it. Is understanding that this woman is reacting, or this young lady as she would have been at the time, she's reacting to what life threw at her.
Exactly,
I used to have friends, but all of a sudden, when life became tough, they are nowhere to be found.
exactly.
So maybe she just concluded that they don't there is no point to having friends. Just live life on your own, and it's the sad reality about life, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
exactly. I mean, you've said it all. That was the perspective she had, and while growing up, that was the key thing she always said. I should not trust friends. I should not have friends. I should be careful of
mm,
friends,
mm,
even down to my family. I should be careful. So it further even affected me, like knowing my cousins, my distant cousin, and all that. So I grew up just with knowing my siblings and God.
mm.
But for her, for someone that is not quite educated, exposure and all that is also a
Yeah.
criteria for her. I mean, all she knows is just go to church, and she gave up many things for this. I mean, she stopped wearing earrings.
Mm,
She stopped making hair. She barbed her
mm,
hair, and she swore celibacy and that she's married to God. You know,
mm,
uh,
mm,
and for her, for someone that had to grow, see her children not eating 3 square meals, and
mhm,
some of her friends are living good, but they cannot help out. She deep down, you
mm.
will not know what her parents are thinking, but I do know that she would had resented them at some point. I mean, however, eh,
Yeah. That's our
yes,
friends.
however, we had a conversation. I think when I was in my SS2 at that time, and I remember she said she had forgiven them and she left everything in the hands of God.
Mm,
I mean, I think that was her making peace, with what
mhm,
life has thrown at her and forgotten about all that.
mm. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. It's good we're talking about this in hindsight from a better place,
Yes,
right? Because as much as we still have prayers for things to get better, things are definitely better than what they used
yes.
to be. Still on the background, how was it? How was relationship like with your siblings? How did you all just? How was that growing up as that child that was still in the womb, and then your siblings? Did it fracture your relationship, or do you think you guys had great relationships regardless?
We did have great relationship. We still have great relationship. As a matter of fact, there are things my senior brother will want to do. He will take my advice. And I mean, he's the first son, the first child. He still calls me and we'll talk, and we talk very well. We vibe. If I have concerns, I reach out to him. He explains what I need to do. My senior sisters, they they tell me, oh, do this, do that, and we are in good relationship. However, it was more like full responsibility for him, my elder brother. Growing up, having to oversee us and all that. It wasn't easy for him. I mean, at that time things were really hard, and there's this thing that you have to write jam. I mean, he would jam and all that, and it was a thing. Yeah, so he had to work at early age just so that he can support somehow. I mean, even with school, he sponsored himself in university, and it was not easy. It was not easy.
True, true. Because I watched a movie recently and it's almost the same, although theirs felt like they didn't take all their properties in their own case, anyways. But this guy had to leave everything. He even left everything, left school just to raise his kid sisters through school. So at a very young age, he stood in the role of being a father. So this thing is, so hearing you talk about it makes you feel like sometimes some of these things we watch on the movies are not just fictions. They are real life stories, especially in
Yes,
Africa. They are real life stories of
yes.
people. Yeah. Yeah. So that whole experience for you guys helped your relationship as opposed to scattering it, because there are also people that it drew them apart.
Oh yeah.
But for you, because I understand from knowing you, I know you're big on family. So would you say that it's the fact that you guys had to go through all that together that allowed you to that just instilled in you this sense of family, this sense of worth for family?
Um. Well, I would say my mom is the big push for it. As much as she doesn't want us to have friends,
Okay.
she encouraged uh, a very, very friendly environment for us. Even when we have quarrels, I mean, we quarrel a lot, like we're like cat and rats. But she would scold us, then use Bible to settle the issue. She start exactly
Typical.
typical. So she would quote Bible and I will apologize to my elder ones, and they will make peace. We'll make peace. Um, I mean, there was a time that I I decided I was not going to greet my immediate sister anymore. I was not going to talk to her. And I mean, for just a couple of, I said 4 days, I felt empty somehow, not conversing with my sister. I chose to not talk to her. So I'm trying to explain the whole relationship, the whole idea of, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
get
I
you.
mean, that 4 days felt so different for me because I don't have friends growing up. And the people that I really relate with and we crack jokes, I'm really not talking to the person. He didn't take me the fifth day before I walked up and apologized, and we were cool and we laughed about it. And
Right, right. We are not meant to do life in
yes,
isolation. In one way or the other, we need
yes,
community, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. Makes sense. So now I think you got to the part where you were now in secondary
yeah,
school and the experience was still the
yeah.
same,
It
was it?
was. I mean, um, I left the boarding school because the fee was really high. Yeah, so
That
yes,
was
total
total
child.
child.
So the fee was high. So and my mom couldn't deal anymore. So we suggested another private school, a day school that I can go to, um, so that it will ease her stress. Because sometimes she had to go and borrow money from people to pay school fees. Yeah. So
This was in Ilorin.
yes, it was in Ilorin.
I just to hold you there again and let us just dwell on that part of how life is again not linear. You said total child was the fee was expensive.
Yes.
I don't know if that episode is going to air before your own or is going yours is going to be after. I had one of the episodes. One of my friend was saying life from the rich kid's perspective, right? And on he shared about how Eucharistic, that's my own secondary school. He knew it was a drop in the ocean for his dad. That
Wow.
Eucharistic wasn't expensive, and I was telling
Wow.
him that can you understand why I feel like he's a rich kid because Eucharistic was if when my school fees come, so Lekon will bring his school fees, Fumi will bring her school fees, and my dad feels like okay, not bad. But when I bring my own school fees, they feel like just I'll just pay your school fees and just be going to school, right? So I was telling him about how it was expensive for my parents. Now you talk about total child. My younger brother, by the way, went to the same school in Maxwell. My dad did not consider total child as expensive. And here is another person that's your mom in this case,
Yeah.
felt total child is expensive. Just to buttress the point about life is not linear. Yoruba people will say bito doju ko or
Yes.
lo fi deyin ke. Like
And
it's
and
facing you
KG.
front,
Mm-hmm.
is backing the other person and that's just life. I don't know if there's anything else you want
Uh,
to add to that about just that
I mean, to
aspect of
buttress your
life.
point, is more like there are two sides to a coin.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yes. So, uh, I mean, it was quite expensive for us. I mean, we were eating
Mhm.
just twice a day, uh, sometimes once a day, and we were sharing bed at that time, big bed.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. All of you.
yes, we were we were sharing bed at that time, and that's because not that the room was not available, but because there was no money
Mhm.
to get subsequent, I mean, beds. So we were all sharing one big bed. It was a big bed, a really big bed. And
Was there at any time, sorry to cut, was there at any time you also looked at people and felt pity for their state? Or did you always feel like you got the shorter end of the stick? Or did at any point in that growing up, how life was difficult, did you ever feel like there were people who were, or did you ever see people who were maybe worse off, or I'm not talking about now, then. Not I'm not saying you should look back in retrospect. I mean then, at that point when you're in that situation, did you ever feel like your family got the shortest end of the stick?
To be honest, I would say yes. However, um, I met someone in school, and when I found out his situation, I could relate. You know,
Okay.
social side is more like people that have money, they come there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like Eucharistic that you just said now. They believe people that go there, they are well to do, they can handle it
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of people that were my friends, their parents were well to do, they were doing good. But I mean, it was not that I was just thinking I got the what was the word? There's this word you used, the
Shortest end
shortest,
of the stick.
yes, the shortest end of the stick. Yes, I felt that way. But when I met the guy, I'm trying to remember his name. Um, I think Kunle. I sort of, I don't want to sound crazy, but I sort of connected easily with him, and I felt like okay, we're in the same shoes. We we
Get you.
were experiencing somewhat the same thing, and it was easy for us to communicate and bond easily. So I felt that way. I mean, if that was to answer your question, yes, I did
Yeah,
feel.
yeah, yeah, yes. Were you angry with rich kids? Let me put it bluntly. Did you have this sort of resentment to people who are the better?
Never. If for anything,
Envy? Envy?
so envy in the aspect of when they say my dad got me this, or when we are
Okay.
resuming a new term, people have changed their shoes, people have changed
Okay.
their clothes, and I'm still on the same clothes. I'm still on the same socks, like
Hmm.
torn socks. I felt I was feeling it, and as a kid, whether we like it or not, I was still a kid at that time. As a kid, I
Yeah.
would keep pressuring my mom, even knowing that she does not have it. I'd be like, "Mommy, we need to buy another shoe and all that." And it's like
Hmm.
more weight on
Hmm.
her. But my brother helps out really well with talking to us, and we grew up being contented with what we have. He taught us to be contented with
Awesome.
what we have. So I was not jealous of people. It's just that sometimes you can't help but feel sad.
You can't
But
help the comparison. Yes, yes,
yes,
you can't. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. True, true. Then another question is, kids are, they say there's this show they call Kids Say the Dandiest Things, like kids don't have filter. We were all kids.
exactly.
Was there any time in that situation where that you can remember someone who treated you badly because of the situation? Do you get what I mean? Someone who
Uh,
maybe
yes.
was more privileged, had understood where you were coming from, and then just treated you badly. If you can remember the situation, and then how did you feel, and how did you respond to that person?
Okay. So I think it was. I was not someone that would allow someone treat me that way. So there is this thing that
Okay.
you do. As kids, I pretended at some point. Your mom would.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was trying her best. She would buy us Okrika clothes, and they are looking good and all that. So we're not
Mm-hmm.
looking fully
Okay.
like our situation. So I
Awesome. I
didn't. I
like I
would
like
just
that
keep
description.
mute. Yes. So I had to pretend. So they didn't know if it was that bad or not. So a lot of
Okay.
time they will just ask me, "Are you not buying this?" I'll be like, "No, I'm not buying." Sometimes I just come out plain. I'm not. Yeah, yes.
Nice.
So because truth is, growing up, I didn't want people to pity me. Um, because
Awesome. Awesome.
my mom taught us not to dwell on pity. We should not wait till people pity us. We should take it. We should
Mm.
take the bull. There's this thing. She says it in Igbo. Jide ya aka. Nisi. So it's like take the bull by the horn, heads on,
Mm-hmm.
face it. So I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is when they buy, and if they buy things and they say, "Oh, Mark, I got you this," I'll say, "Oh." Sometimes I reject. Sometimes I say, "Thank you." I take it. So it
No.
was not a case of them. It was not a thing of them maltreating me. It was a thing of me also finding balance despite my situation.
Awesome. But I think what I was going to say is that I think that's a very nice perspective you have to life because yes, some people take fake it till you make it to an extreme, but there is sometimes there's just a thin line between self-esteem, delusion, and pride. Self-esteem here was the fact that because I don't have does not make give you the opportunity to walk over me. Because you have or I don't have does not mean tomorrow I don't stand a chance. So it does not mean I am now your houseboy or any, and so that was a very good demonstration of self-esteem. Being delusional would have been you trying to ignore your circumstance, you trying to deny the fact that wait things are hard. And being proud is if at that time, if any of your friend had offered to help you, like you said, some of them would come back and say, I got this for you. Being proud would be you need a shoe and they bought a shoe for you and you're like, no, I don't need it because I don't want you to think you are richer than me. Bro, they are richer than you. So I think that was a very good
Fact.
demonstration of self-esteem.
Yeah.
Um, and from what you've said so far, I think it's safe to say that your mom really did a good job in inculcating these strong attributes to you and maybe to your siblings as well.
Yes, she did.
Which is quite commendable, for the kind of experience because there are also other people who have gone through life like this and the same reason why you became the person you are today, who I really respect and admire. Some persons have gone through the same experience and they've turned out otherwise. So I want to ask you a question, a genuine question is when you see people like that, do you blame them? Or like what's your reaction? Do you feel pity? When you see people who their excuse for turning out to be something bad, something not what emulating today is because I had it rough. And then maybe they got into cults, they got into very bad things that make them have a very bad life. When you see them, do you feel pity for them? Like, oh, yeah, you people don't, you people are judging them. You don't really know where they are coming from, or you feel some sort of anger that, come on, that should have been what spurred you to success. How do you feel when you see people like that?
Um, to be honest, I sort of get angry because I mean
Okay.
we're literally living from hand to mouth. It was really a bad situation. So I don't want to know what situation they are in. They could have sort of converted it to their strength. Now I know everybody's capacity differs, guidance differs, but there is this thing that you are trained, you train yourself. I mean, I could as well
Mm,
misbehave at some point, knowing fully well that my mom is not there, knowing fully well my siblings are not there.
mm-hmm.
But I chose to not do so. So it will
Why?
interest you that, okay, thank you. So it's a self-conviction, me saying, determining and agreeing with myself that I want to be this way. So I mean, there's, like I said, if you remember earlier, I said I got to know about my dad from people based off of what they said about him,
Yeah.
and it's been good stuff. It's been,
Yeah.
oh, he helps, he's a nice person. So being nice is not just because
Mm,
it was about him or being that kind of way.
okay.
I feel it is me also deciding that I want to be this way. I want to help people in my situation,
Oh,
in my little. I want to be this way. It will
Awesome,
interest
awesome.
you.
You said something now
You
that
mentioned you mentioned something about course, about them
continue,
joining
continue.
course. It will interest you that
Hmm.
um I have been disturbed to join course. I chose
Yeah,
not
I
to.
think you've told me that before.
I chose not to.
Hmm.
It will interest you that they've lured me with gay easing, and I chose not to. I mean,
Hmm.
someone was willing to give me money just so that we can make out. A guy. Did I need the money? Yes, I
Wow.
did. And this is not.
Exclusive. You're getting exclusive gist from Metanoia.
It will
Continue.
interest you. It will interest. I mean, back in University of Ilorin, um, in my 100
Hmm.
level, I was cutting in my 100 level in the school hostel because
Hmm.
I there was no place to stay. I didn't have. Yeah, at that time I had not met Lekon.
Hmm.
So I would just enter the school hostel, take few of my clothing, stay in the school hostel, and then at night I will have my bath outside the hostel, not in the bathroom, but outside. I mean,
Hmm.
some of
Hmm.
that was when I met another gay that walked up to me
Oh my God.
and told me I'm endowed. So if it is being exposed or being tempted, I have been.
So, meaning what you're just trying the point you're trying to make here is that when you see people like that, you feel like, come on, that's no
They could,
excuse for you to turn out the way you did.
yes, they could have made the right choice. They could have decided to no, I don't want to be this way. I want to be a better person. I want to be better than my parents. I want to do better than where they are. I want to. So it's a choice.
So do you? So you from what I'm saying, from what you're saying is you believe that people would turn out that way, that life gives them opportunities to decide otherwise.
Yes, I would say so.
Because and I'm glad it's someone like you that is saying this thing because in terms of personality, we are very different. People who know me and are listening to this podcast will probably put me in a in a bracket of good guys as much as I wouldn't say they are correct, but people are we all profile people. So they'll put me in this good boy category, especially if you now know me very, very well to be someone who Jesus and all that, faith and all that. It's easy for people to look at me, it's because have not seen life. And then, but hearing this from someone like you, and like I would usually say that the people I want to, my main audience, to be honest, if I do have a target audience, it will be teenagers, it will be teenage boys, is to let them know that life, like I've always said, life is linear, and then you just have to take a step back and decide. There's going to be that point where you have to choose that to being a man is beyond just the superficial thing. So hearing this from someone like you, I mean, you can go to his ID page and say him he's a big boy like you want to define, but this is his perspective to life. That regardless of what life throws at you, you can still make an intentional decision to be a better person. You can still make an intentional decision to be kind. So Maxwell, my next question is this: all that said, we cannot fully explore your experiences in just in under an hour. So I want us to go
Yes.
to what when things changed, which you already started talking about. So you
Yeah.
now I know you to have a lot of friends.
Yes.
What changed? You were raised with not having friends. What changed, and what inspired that change? Hi everyone, this is Olamide, and this is where we're going to end this part of the episode. I know you want to learn more about what happened to Maxwell, what changed in his story, and we're going to start from there next week. But remember to like, remember to share, Please remember to drop a comment, engage with this podcast. Tell me what stood out in his story. Tell me if you can relate with what he has shared. Tell me what part of his story maybe resonates with you the most, or where you felt empathy or you felt anger or it just brought back any kind of memory or you have questions. Let's engage in the chat. Remember to like and then just stay glued to the channel. We will continue next week where we explore about Maxwell's story. Because one thing I can tell you that things have definitely changed. He's no longer that boy that is living from mouth to mouth. He's no longer that boy that does not have friends. So what changed? What was his approach? What did he do differently? We're going to learn more about that next week. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.